Before continue the formal show, I would like to thank our partners and sponsor for this episode, FSK and Partners. They said that when it's come to design and when it's come to in-house support, they are the one of the only firm with the specialized services under one roof. Their motto is we direct, we design and we deliver.
Okay, I see kids 10, 11, 12 with mobile phones. I didn't get my first mobile phone until I was 27. Our children's generation, or the generation of our children now, perhaps will never experience what we once had. The best advice I can give you is be honest.
Be honest,
You know,
transparent.
if you're transparent and you say this is my position, there are no games. We were late to the market. The global business, we had focused largely on the Southeast Asian market, China.
Have you ever think that why God has created as a humans other than any living being? Why this much blessing? Because we are the only living being who have ability to think and ability to change our surroundings with the perspective of our thinking. And whenever you get up in the morning, have you say thanks to the God for his creation? If not, then you have to think that what should I do today to prove that yes, I'm the human and I've been here to make a difference around the society. If you're looking for a guidance, the perspective by Fouad Awan is the way forward. This is the #1 podcast channel when it's come to self-growth, self-learning in GCC and the most watched channel. Today I'm gonna start my show with a great guest. He's a friend, he's a brother, he's very loved to and close to my heart. And whenever he move with a very positive energy. He don't just build the buildings or design the building. He create the ecosystems and the opportunity and the legacy footprints behind him. Today, the guest with the perspective by Fouad Awan is Kerem Cengiz. He isn't design the structures and design buildings. He design expansion strategies and future intelligence across the GCC and around the world. He's leading the growth of LWK Partners, MENA region, as well as he's leading AI-driven smart solutions from Chang's technology to shape culture and outreach the Royal Institute of British Architect. He operates in the intersection of design, business, technology, and the long-term thinking. Today with Kerem, we're gonna explore the principle that how to be successful under the complex circumstances. Let's dive in with Kerem. Welcome, Kerem. How are you?
Brother, I'm very good, thank you. And thank you for inviting me to your wonderful office and meeting your team. It's great to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Before heading towards the formal questions and I'm going to discuss and what is hidden behind this beautiful smile. So I going to thanks to our endorsement partners, FSK and Partners, helping us to continue this episode down the line. And remember, when it's come to the self-help and self-growth, the perspective of Awan is the best show within the GCC. Starting with one thing that looking back, when you start LWK Partner, MENA region, and when you're gonna take the leadership in your hands, do you feel that it's just a job or it's more than something which you're living to or you're born to do it?
Well, look, I mean, the simple answer is not just a job. I think if you do things as just jobs, I don't think you can eventuate your own personal growth. And I don't think you can do justice to the people that are employing you. So you've got to go into any endeavor, whether it be related to your career, your personal life, your friendships, with a full heart and with an open mind and with a desire for it to succeed. I've done offices globally from
Wow.
Kiev in Ukraine to Istanbul, in Dubai, and that journey has taught me a lot of lessons that I've tried to apply here in the UAE. So yes, it was a huge opportunity. I was asked by the partners as they were interviewing me, "Are you
Okay.
prepared to give us at least 10 years of your life?"
Wow.
I said immediately yes.
Wow. So you like the journey, not the final destination itself.
Look, the final destination, I think, often changes. Obviously, the ambition is to eventuate a successful practice, and we are a publicly listed entity, so delivering financial reward to the shareholders is the key target. As a businessman, as an architect, creating and contributing to a successful, thriving urban environment is also an ambition. So it sort of satisfies lots of important aspects of one's own ambition, but also those of people who join you in that shared journey.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. So I believe more into the actions, you look for something added value, always looking for something inspirational.
Look, when we came here nearly 8 years ago, we were late to the market. I mean, as a business, as a global business, we had focused largely on the Southeast Asian market, China, and it had been very, very successful. And I think we saw what we're seeing now in terms of the growth across the region coming. And so when we entered in the market in 2018, we entered at a point when the market was down and it had lots of different advantages, but also it had big disadvantages which nobody knew us. So it wasn't sensible to propose ourselves as an alternative directly to our competitors, and there were many. We had to find a point of difference. And I think remembering that actually there are a lot of good architects in the market.
Yeah.
We're not unique in the sense that we're good, they're good. If you were to perhaps take one of our projects and debadge it, the excellence, one of our competitors' projects, to debadge it and ask somebody who designed this, they couldn't tell you. Because, we're all very good. There's lots of commonalities just in terms of how market evolves. So we had to choose a strategy that differentiated us from other people. And we also adopted a very broad market sector approach so that we chose very specific projects that highlighted difference.
Which make impact.
There's variety. And, alhamdulillah, in the 7 years that we've been here, we've been able to carve ourselves a position in the market that people know about us, despite the fact that we've only been here a short time.
Wow, wow, wow. So how do you personally define success today? And the way you started and how it's evolved, the definition, it's keep changing or it's still the same?
Look, I think success can be judged on many different criteria. As I said, for shareholders, success means financial return. So as a business unit leader, that is one of the measures that I have to achieve. A second very important marker for me is how happy my team is, because the business success is because of their hard work. So if the team's happy, work is done well, the environment is good, the outcome is positive. So that's another marker of success for me. I'm a very people-focused person. And another pool of success is how our stakeholders perceive the end result. You've been in the business a long time. There's often a lot of challenges on the journey of delivering a building. And sometimes there are tensions and those challenges become quite difficult. But the outcome is really important. And once all of the challenges are done and the project is delivered and the client is happy, that's a really important measure of success for me. And finally, does what we've designed contribute positively to the community, to our environment, to the urban places that we create?
Wow, wow. So I was in with somebody in the previous guest on my podcast, and he said that pressure is privilege to have it.
Look, I mean, if you're not under pressure, You're either an extraordinary person and
Yeah.
you're really in total control, which is very rare, or you're doing something wrong. So I think really pressure comes with the job.
Yes.
And I think with a little bit of pressure, everybody benefits. It sort of sharpens the wits, it clarifies the mind. Over pressure, obviously, is not positive, and we have to watch how we deal with that, particularly with our staff, because at the end of the day, we can't push people too much.
Okay. So my next question is like you've been considered as a spearhead of LWK MENA region, and it's described as a very unique period within the region of the development. So what mental model you use when you're assessing the opportunity and the timing?
That's a really interesting one. I think the reality is the models change depending on the current market conditions. You know, one always has to try to look at not what's in your hand now, but what is going to be in your hand in the future. I think if you only focus on the present or reflect on the past, which is important, reflect and be introspective is really important because it informs the decisions you make for the future. The mental model is always looking a few steps ahead, trying to predict where the market is going to go, what the sectors are going to be that you need to focus on, where you need to pivot and transition. So that's the sort of, I have good management team around me, and those people are the ones that I need to focusing on today,
Yeah.
delivering for today. I need to be not focusing on today. I need to be looking ahead.
Perfect. Perfect. So as an architect and as a business leader, so how you gonna parallel? Will you see the parallel between what parallel you see between the design and the organization design, designing a projects and designing an organization? Since you've done a lot of offices, so what is the parallel in
Well,
between?
look, I mean, I think it's all about people. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what ambitions I have or what vision I have. If I don't have the right people around me, if we're not all focused on the same journey, the outcome isn't going to be positive. You may eventuate a reasonable outcome, but not the outcome that you might really want. So gathering a group of like-minded people who and being prepared to be challenged by them, and not just people who say yes sir,
Yeah.
no sir, 3 bags full sir, but people who say yes, we like your vision, but we don't think that's the right way, or hey, we're going a bit too off track, come back, correct. I think that's really important. So to have people around you who are trusted, who are honest in the way they are able to talk to you about the decisions that you're proposing is really key. And that's where I see
Totally,
the
totally,
balance.
totally agree. I remember that I was listening somewhere 311 that always come with three solutions, propose one, and defend why one is the best.
Yeah,
So this is the way forward.
it really is. I think if you can't be prepared to accept that some of the choices you're making are not right, or perhaps not as strong as others, then you're only leading the business in the wrong direction. It's okay to be wrong.
But if you get wrong, you don't have to stay there. I believe you need to
Exactly.
learn it and
Exactly.
change
and,
it.
And as long as you learn from that,
Yes.
is also an important thing. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, that introspection, being able to look back and say, okay, that was a slightly wrong turn. We were able to move back into the right position, but
Why not?
let's learn from that
Learn from that.
that situation.
So, do you think there's no failure? It's either as a good job done or it's a learning.
Look, I think there are failures, yes, of course. I mean, those failures are things that I take very seriously. And there have been failures of making the decisions quickly enough, making the right decision. But those failures come with lessons. And if those lessons are not learned, they remain failures, not lessons.
Wow. Wow. So many young professionals looking for the short terms, quick success, these things. So how you focus on the long term pipelines and the partnerships, and what principles when you are making a pipelines and the partnerships?
Look, I think, you know, that the route to fast success is also the route to fast failure, in the sense that it's often how do I put this in the right analogy? That it's you go fast, you burn a lot of fuel. You need to know when to put the foot down on the pedal and go fast, but most of the time you need to be in that mode where you're cruising along comfortably. The peaks and troughs that are very high and very low are very hard to manage, and they're also personally impactful, both in terms of stress, health, all sorts of things, both in terms of personal stress and health, but also business stress.
Business stress.
And so the pipelines that we look for are about long-term strategic relationships, but also understanding that markets change or people change their minds very quickly. We just had a situation where we'd done a very interesting pre-concept for a client. It was very, very well received. They said, we love it. Now we're going to commission you to do the projects. And within 1 week of the commission, they said, oh, actually, we just changed our mind. Now, we plugged that numbers into our forecast for the year. We were very, very happy. Suddenly, we had a big bunch of money that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, it's gone.
It's gone.
So you have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to not over-rely. You have to know where the next meal is and keep hunting for that next meal. And obviously, every new project is hard. Every second, third, fourth project with the same team shows value. And the value increases every time you do a project because your efficiency gets better, the understanding of the expectations are there. Ultimately, the profits increase.
Yes, totally agree. And I believe the MENA region is for the long term. It's not for parachuting, jumping.
Look, I think, if you look from the outside, as we've seen a little bit in Saudi Arabia over the last few years, a lot of people who are not committed to being here have come in, and they've come in and seen fast money. And yes, a lot of people have benefited. That's gone now. Particularly in KSA, we're seeing a significant adjustment in the market. We're seeing a maturation of that market in the way the government wants to invest its money in a more sustainable manner. And I think that's very commendable. But if you're not embedded there, if you don't have a long-term commitment to that, which takes tenacity, it's like being a marathon runner.
Yes.
If you look at it, you have to keep a steady pace. You have to show that you're committed, that you have faith in that market. So yeah, I think, fast approach seems very attractive, but money comes and goes very quickly.
100% true. Without any sugar coating, whatever we are listening right now, viewers. So again, if you want to be 1% of where you are as a top cream of the cream, stay tuned to us. So my next question is that you've been known for the negotiation skills, entrepreneurial business forecasting. So what is your philosophy for the negotiation? Is like leverage, alignment, or some mantras?
Look, I mean, leverage is always good, but knowing how to use it shrewdly and not in an abusive way is really important. Forcing people only creates resentment. I think the best advice I can give you is be honest.
Be honest, transparent.
If you're transparent and you say, this is my position, there are no games. Totally. You have the negotiation can either be very fast or very slow. I mean, if you say, this is my position, and say no, you're done. And you know that actually from that circumstance, this isn't the right place for you to be as a business. And of course, you sometimes have to. It's like a waltz. You have to dance one step here, one step there. And in this region, that's expected. You can't go straight to the matter. You have to engage in a process where you'd understand the cultural background of the individual you're talking with, or the entity you're talking with. But once you're in that position where you're both comfortable and you've established the rapport, then you have to be very upfront. I mean, last week I was in Riyadh having a different sort of negotiation. It was a more difficult negotiation about difficulties on a project. And my counterpart was already in an aggressive mode.
Wow.
And, I had to be honest with him and say, whilst I acknowledge your position, I don't agree with it. And the way we're moving in this way only leads us to one very negative outcome, which I don't think is healthy for either of us. Better that we discuss it and negotiate a way forward, and I think it could calm the situation down. But those are tense moments, and you have to steel yourself, and it doesn't come naturally. You have to practice, and even when you practice, there are moments when you feel nervous, fearful, excited, happy, but you sometimes just have to, the mask has to be
A different facade. So, any project being a part of the LWK, which is very close to your heart, you always like, yes, this is what is a milestone to my achievement so far.
Look, I mean, I wouldn't say it's again, I wouldn't say my achievement. It's the team's achievement. I mean, it's all about the team.
Wonderful.
No one person creates. I mean, when the team achieves, I achieve. So that's my first major achievement, that we had the team that's successful, that's creative. So that's a very big achievement. But if we go to projects, there are a number of projects that we've been very fortunate on, and the first one is a project that was started in 2019 and completed in 2023, which was Burj Khalifa for Emaar. That's on Sheikh Rashid Boulevard, opposite the Opera House in downtown Dubai. We were very fortunate. It was our first major engagement in the region after 1 year of being here. We worked with an amazing director of design, Mark Farmer, who was at Emaar then. He was extremely supportive, a very knowledgeable, a really fantastic designer. And that project was not necessarily an iconic building. It's a very handsome building. I would encourage you all to go and have a look at it. And the contractor, Ali and Sons, who interestingly have sort of followed us throughout our career here. They're now building DIFC for, DIFC living for DIFC. They did an amazing job. And so that holds a very fond place in my heart, in the sense that it was our first
A major breakthrough.
project. And in actual fact, very unusually, Chairman Alabar actually made a personal statement about that project, which is really unusual for him to do. He normally doesn't. And we took great pride in that, because it was a really big endeavor for us.
Wow.
Allowed us to platform. And another project now is the second project I mentioned, is the DIFC Living, which is now near topping out. There in DIFC, near the DIFC Mosque on Al Mustaqbal Street. Again, that's a really unique building and had a lot of challenges. It was the first of a kind for DIFC as a client. We helped them to establish themselves as their own developer of their own projects in terms of residential sector. It was a mixed-use tower with an iconic crown on top. It's going to be a fine dining location. Project you were involved with. And I think we'll all be very proud. I mean, there was a tough old journey on that one, but amazingly it was sold. I mean, it was almost pre-sold before he went to...
It's a great achievement.
It was a really great achievement.
Yes, yeah. So, the young guys, especially who are in the universities, not on the architecture but other field also. So, what they really misunderstood when they are on that state of mind and they say that, okay, we're getting the degrees, and what they are expecting and what actually market is expecting.
Yeah. I mean, look, I finished my first degree back in 1992.
Wow.
We're, 30 hits, more than 30 years.
Yeah.
The way that we were working then, technology was only just coming into play. My first job after university, we were still opening CAD packages in DOS. So it was a really new thing, and a lot of it was still drawn by hand. All the detailing was still watched by hand. So the way technology has impacted has also focused people's minds in different ways. It's a much more stratified approach. So we have to be mindful that our business requires a broad set of skills. And yet the market or the educational sector is now eventuating people with more more channeled skill sets. People are being asking to choose or being pushed into choosing certain things in certain ways. Expectations are very different. I mean, when I was starting in my career, I remember the first major job that I had was with a company called Shepherd at Sign Hunter. And, I'd worked for one-man bands before that. I mean, the market was very bad at that stage. And I came into the practice, I was so excited and had to be in a big practice. I was a bit chatty, talking a bit too much. And one of my directors came up and said, look, if you don't shut up, you're going to be out. And I was after 2 weeks, and I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. So for 3 months, I just shut my mouth and I worked like a monster. And he called me into the room and said, he looked really serious, and I thought, oh, I've really blown this. How can I blow it? He said, you had a really bad start. And I thought, oh, here we go. He said, but you know what? You showed your method. You pulled it around. You committed. You did really good work. We're really proud as you welcome to the team. That lesson taught me that however much you want to do what you want to do, you have to understand who you work for. You have to understand the context of what their organization, whether it be architecture or any organization, needs. You are being employed to do a job. That job is specifically described to you in your job description. You need to fulfill that function. Of course, organizations have a commitment back to you and an obligation to help you progress your career. But I think the attitude of me, or I need to focus just on what my career is. Employment is a two-way street. It's give and take. And understanding what your employer needs is super.
No doubt. So, as you say that there always are difficult negotiations, and some clients are difficult, some are good to go. They have a rapport to develop. So when it's come to high-stake development and dealing with the complex stakeholders, not only the client side, but the sub-consultant and other part of the authority approvals. So how you protect your core values?
Look, I think the core values of a business are often radically different from that of our stakeholders. I mean, I think, let's start with consultants. The first thing with consultants is respect. You might be the lead design consultant, you may have all the contractual liability. Often we work on a back-to-back basis, but that doesn't mean that as the lead consultant, we shouldn't respect the value of everybody is making that contribution. Without our partners, this project doesn't happen. And so developing relationships, both at a professional level in terms of how we do good work together, but also as a level of respect as individuals and people that work within that organization, like you and I have over the years, is critical to creating trust.
Yes.
But also when you have really hard moments on a project, being able to talk to someone honestly and say, these are the challenges, I need you to work with me in a place that you wouldn't necessarily walk. That's really important. Working with a stakeholder, client, developer, investor, again, it's about establishing, whilst we are being paid to do a job, we also have the right to be treated with respect and treated with dignity, and also be heard. I mean, we're not just hiring us to do a job, otherwise you could just get a draftsman to the job. You're bringing us as professionals. And so I think when we are being asked to do things that we disagree with, it's incumbent upon us that we have to warn the stakeholder. We believe that this is a wrong direction. Not the best direction for the project. And these are the reasons why. Now, they can say, we don't care, we want you to do this. And as long as we've explained it, and as long as it's eventuated in that discussion, that they acknowledge our advice, we will walk on that journey. Other times there will be journeys that we walked away from. We walked away from one BIF project last year because we saw it going in a very wrong direction. And we can't afford to take that sort of financial risk. It had a massive financial impact on us last year, massive. but it would have had an even bigger financial impact on us if we had continued on that journey in the way they were trying to force us. Because sometimes as a leader, you have to say, I'm sorry, but no.
To take care of the
It's
people.
difficult. It's very difficult. And it has had significant impact on us in 2025. And now we're having to address that in 2026. But I maintain that was the right decision.
Okay. No regrets.
I regret that we weren't able to have a conversation that was realistic about why we held our position. But no regrets for making that decision long term, no.
Perfect. Perfect. Great. So, how do you balance profit with the purpose?
With purpose?
Yeah.
Look, I mean, settled profit is profit. There is no, we're in business to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of business. And so in itself, it's not the ultimate purpose, but it's a big fundamental driver. So for me, my job as the managing director is to make money, to ensure the business is profitable. So that's my purpose in the business sense. I have other purposes, which is to make sure that the teams eventuate that outcome whilst enjoying what their purposes are.
Yeah.
If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Because when they don't need to concern themselves with that.
Yeah.
They have a responsibility in their different positions to help to achieve that. But that means understanding their job, delivering their job successfully, efficiently, positively.
With their dreams. So, during the circumstances, what is your monologue to yourself?
My monologue to myself is that
Hi.
you know what you're doing. Be prepared to pivot, change. Be prepared to accept that some of your decisions are wrong. And persevere. Be resilient.
Great. So, what one habit or routine you always live with it on daily basis?
Drink a cup of coffee in the morning. Goes without saying. But no, as a business routine, it's get yourself into an organized mindset early on in the day. Focus on what you need to achieve and
Okay.
prioritize.
Wow.
Can't do everything in one day, but you can do the right things.
One step at one time. Totally agree. Totally agree. Which city is close to your heart?
A city that's close to my heart. Where I grew up as a child, Izmir is very close to my heart because it had many happy memories of how life used to be. I mean, when I grew up there, my family is a humble family. We lived in the very outskirts of Izmir at a time on the Karşıyaka side. And our village was called Nergiz, which was right on the edge of the city. And then you just had fields and then the mountain. And I grew up with my cousins and my grandparents and my parents, and my grandfather built our house floor by floor. And so as family grew, I used to spend a lot of time with my grandparents. We kept chickens in the garden. We had sheep. And those were the very sort of happy days, very happy days. Now, that area is now in the middle of the city. The city has filled the fields. It's up the side of the mountain. It's not the same place, but that naivety that once existed now is, I think, largely gone. You know, our children's generation, or the generation of our children now, perhaps will never experience what we once had. And I think that gives me, maybe it's sounding a little bit over romantic, but having had that foot in something simpler and now being immersed in the world that's so driven and fast and hard and sometimes unforgiving, I feel sort of sad for young people now that are so overexposed to so much without seeing or experiencing that simple
life.
just playing
Yeah.
innocently.
The outdoor activities.
Energy.
Yeah, without outdoor activities, human to human relationships.
Look, I'll give you a very practical example from today. Okay, I see kids 10, 11, 12 with mobile phones. Okay. I didn't get my first mobile phone until I was 27. So I know phones were newer, but And then it was the old phones where it was just buttons, and you had, I'd say, 156 characters to write a message. Now you have all these different.
I totally share the same memory.
So I think, when you understand as a child and you're exposed to that, it's very different. So, that's the city is in my memories, Izmir. But of course, I grew up in London. I loved London. I lived in Melbourne. Melbourne's an amazing city.
No doubt.
Really, wherever I live and I'm happy is home. That home has a different meaning in different places. A home. London was a home. Dubai is home now. I love living in Dubai.
I think it's a city of future. Passion.
Ultimately, it's a city of what you decide it's going to be for you, and how you decide. You either the city drives you, or you make the city what you want it to be for yourself.
I agree. Yes. So it's about now rapid fire round.
Oh, okay.
It's a simple, quick, easy. So one book, what you recommend to any young leader or young of yourself, you need to go through it in your life once time.
I don't really read coaching books. I tend to read fictional books. Well, I started with lots of science fiction and fantasy. I like history, so I would choose a history book. I just finished reading a book by Wilfred Tassinger, which was about the journey that he was the first European to do the journey from Oman to Abu Dhabi through Yemeni Quarter, and that was about that was set in the time before Dubai existed as a city. Existed as a place, but it was during the Bedouin period. And so it really gives me context to how these places have come up. So that's something that's really interesting if you want to be here and understand here and the relationships between the people in the GCC.
And their philosophy, the background and everything. Okay. So one habit which changed your trajectory of the life.
Self-honesty.
Oh.
Be honest with yourself. Don't hide from your truths.
One mentor or role model of your life.
Look, I've been really, really fortunate that in almost every practice I've worked for, there's been one or two leaders in those practices, whether they know it or not, have inspired me. The way I've created my career, it has been very specific. So I won't mention them individually, but I've been massively fortunate to find people who have, through their professionalism, have truly inspired you.
Mm-hmm. One word you live by.
Compassion.
The passion. Wow, perfect. I know the answer, but still I will ask. Risk or security?
Risk.
That's why I say I know the answer. So, what is a big misconception about the leadership?
That you always have to be right.
Don't you think it's a dicey situation? Like you never be right, actually.
Look, I think it's right to be wrong, if you know what I mean. And being flexible is really, really important. Adaptable.
Mm-hmm. Morning routine or night owl?
Morning routine.
Mm-hmm. And if you were not an architect or developer, businessman, what other field of life you like to choose?
I would have loved to have been a chef.
Chef.
Yeah, I love cooking. I love growing things. I like preparing. I like to see people enjoy what I.
With the food. Wow. That I never know.
I'll have to cook for you sometime.
Good. So, meetings you like on the Teams or in person?
It all depends on who it's with.
It's a clever answer.
Look, obviously the face-to-face is always a pleasure. If you're meeting people you enjoy being with, or who are very interesting and challenging, and even those people who are a bit difficult, but they have something valid to say, it's always interesting to spend time with people like that. Teams has changed our world. It's made certain things easier, but it's also made people a little bit more distant from each other. And so difficult moments are harder to resolve just via VC. You still need to have important meetings face to face. You shouldn't have difficult conversations on the phone, in writing, or across a digital media.
Yes. I believe on the teams you can't have energy, you can't feel that
Can't feel the nuance of what's happening.
yes, yes.
Can't feel the atmosphere.
You can't read the room. So thank you, Karam, for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank
for
you.
inviting me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing the ideas. And I believe that the people who look up to you, the people who taking you as a leader around you, directly or indirectly, definitely today they learn something, and they gonna change their life trajectory, because our philosophy of the podcast is just that the hard times create the good peoples, and the good times create the soft peoples, or the people who can bend easily. So we want to keep that 30 minutes of their lifespan in such a way that they can tune to the channel, and only the 0.5% of their whole 24 hours they can learn, they can grow, and take one principle, a daily one principle. So by the end of the day, or one of the year, 365 principles they have to start from a level where they go. So thank you again, and thank you viewers for watching us, and stay tuned across all our platforms, and be the perspective that affects the society. Stay blessed. Thank you.